Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the country's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And we've got the most popular man on TV. I don't think anybody's done more hours on the telly in the last year than Phillip Schofield. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And if it was flying hours, like on a plane, I think I would definitely have my licence by now.
Do you know what it is? You're living the dream, really. You're credible as a journalist. You go on that this morning and you do the business with the proper news. And then in a heartbeat, you can turn it around and have fun. There are so few people master that. And that, I think, is your greatest skill, isn't it?
Well, it's I think half of it, when I first wanted to be in telly and on the radio in the first place, the advice I always got was be yourself. And I think because I'm genuinely interested in the things that we do, and I'm working with Holly, and we have a sense of humour that works at the same speed, all of those sort of things contribute to the fact that you can actually move very quickly. We have a skilled team as well. When I first started at This Morning, there were awkward gear changes, and so we developed those. Now we mark them up properly for everyone to know when they're coming, and we separate them with a competition or with a commercial break or things like that. So it's like flipping the pages of a magazine. It just makes it easier to get from serious to jokey.
How often do you find yourself on the naughty mat in the editor's office? Because it does sometimes go off the rails where you're just having so much fun, which of course are the moments we love and that end up going viral and getting 20 billion hits.
Yeah, never once. Never once. There's never been a moment where Holly and I have been hauled in and said, you shouldn't have laughed at that, or that was a bit of, it's not like that. We both know how far we can go. There is definitely that feeling of laughing in church, which is a bit, once it starts and you think, oh my God, not now. And one or other of us will attempt to scrabble it back and sort ourselves out. But no, we've never been hauled into the editor's office for laughing.
You're going to be on tour this spring. The Nights of Music is coming to Nottingham, Edinburgh, Newcastle, and finishing up at London's New Wimbledon Theatre on the 30th of April. It starts on the 27th. We're going to talk about that in a moment. The synergy and connection between you two is extraordinary, and it didn't necessarily have to work. I mean, she's young and glamorous, and you're an old cock that's been doing it for 35 years and mastered your art. I mean, it very quickly seemed to work. Was there a point when you thought, this is going to probably be the rest of my career on telly with a lady who makes it look so effortless?
Everything, all these things work very organically. Holly had done Dancing on Ice. We got on really well. Fern had decided she didn't want to do This Morning anymore, so Holly was my only choice. I knew immediately that it was Holly that I wanted to do it, and I said, actually, if Holly doesn't do it, then I might have to think about what I do. So I sort of threatened, and Holly got the gig. I knew it would be great, and I knew she'd work perfectly. And you get the opportunity. I'm very lucky. My career is very varied. You have moments where you're working with another presenter, and you have moments when you're on your own. I mean, Holly and me definitely the double act on This Morning, and that works brilliantly. But the same thing, we then go off and do our separate things. I've got 5 gold rings, all the other shows that you do, Mr. and Mrs. The Cube, that sort of stuff. Then you go off and do your own thing, and we just meet up in the mornings, or very occasionally on a Thursday or a Friday evening.
I used to do warm-up on Loose Women for a while, and the one thing that the girls used to tell me was that feeling of going back to the phone after the show and seeing the storm that had been created by the papers or social media. Does it ever become normal when you say something off the cuff and the next minute it's front page news? Because that is so extraordinary, and there's only probably 10 or 20 people in the entire country who they care enough about to report it.
Well, it depends what it is, really. I mean, all you ever want is accuracy, really. Internet. I suppose Twitter is less fun than it used to be because now everybody just complains on Twitter. So I play with that slightly less than perhaps I did in the past. But as far as that's concerned, we're all in the same game. I know that the Mail Online and the Mirror Online, and that it's a machine. It's a beast that has to be fed. And so if they're mentioning us, then that's great. That's fantastic, and we're perfectly happy with that. And so if there is a storm of some sort, you would hope that it was a sensible one. and that the reason your phone was lit up at the end of a show was something that you knew you'd done, or for something sensible. And the thing is, it is such a beast that if you don't feed it, I mean, we never ever would do it purposely. They end up making stuff up anyway because we haven't been on for a couple of days. So.
As this week proves, one of you takes a day's holiday and it's suddenly front page news. It's extraordinary.
Well, Holly was sick. Actually, she was off sick, and there's been a bug in her family all weekend. It had gone round the kids, and it had gone round Dad. Everyone had it. Holly got it twice, and she got it on the sort of Sunday night. And of course, the thing with Holly is that the minute she's off poorly, everyone says she's pregnant. So that's always the story there. If she doesn't have if we do an item and we're doing drinks and it's a drink that she doesn't particularly like and she doesn't have any, she must be pregnant. She's off a couple of days sick. She must be pregnant. It drives her mad. Yeah.
It's amazing as well how This Morning is pushing the media forward. I know that sounds hard to do in 2017, but there are things you still do on there that still shock people and surprise people. I think that's the reason it stays so fresh, isn't it? You never sort of get lazy and it never becomes predictable.
I hope not. We don't ever go out to shock and to be sensational. I mean, we cover stories that we would hope would fascinate the audience. We're very aware of the audience that we've got. We know what they like. We know what doesn't turn them on. And you go through stages. You go through editors. We had an editor who very much liked the stories that with the lady with the biggest boobs and the man with the longest willy. We've sort of gone through that sort of thing. The editor we've got now is the best we've ever had, and I think he's got his finger more on the pulse of what our viewers like, and he's a bit maverick, which is fantastic, and he's a bit experimental, which is terrific, and he looks at new twists on things. So we are, I think, the best team we've been, and that's across daytime. Actually, that goes right the way through to the head of daytime, who's Helen Warner, right through our bosses, everyone, and it's this wonderful alignment of planets that we're all singing from the same hymn sheet, which is why I think the show is doing so well.
Why didn't you ask me on? When you did that show about micro penises, I was waiting for the phone to ring, Philip. Nothing, not a call, nothing.
It's a long list. I should call it a short list, really.
At least I wasn't on the top of it. The Nights of Music is touring the UK this spring from the 27th of April, and I can't wait to see it. It seems to me one of the reasons that you are so good at what you do is because you, and I mean this as a compliment, you're old school. You're a variety entertainer that's come through the theatre, that always wanted to do radio and TV, and that puts you in great stead today. But then you're going back to the theatre. I wonder whether there's something secretly inside you that makes you want to be a giraffe in The Lion King or a green witch in Wicked.
What, and do it and know?
Well, exactly. Yeah, just put a bit of makeup on and sneak in there after This Morning, and there you are, 8 times a week back in the West End.
It would be fun. Certainly, that would be fun to do. But the thing with me and theatre, and you mentioned the radio and the telly. The radio, I always wanted to be in radio first. I couldn't get into radio, so I answered an ad in the newspaper and got a job on the telly. That happened. Then the radio came after it. And then, bizarrely, the theatre came out of absolutely left field. And I had no clue that was coming. Did it, found out that I could do it. And you say, the sort of old school variety, I can't dance to save my life, so I'm a rubbish dancer. If I was a really, really good dancer, I probably would have been a major threat in the West End. But because I can't dance, everyone's safe. But as far as singing and acting and enjoying a live audience is concerned, when I got on the stage at the London Palladium, it definitely lit some sort of a fire, and I realised that I absolutely loved it. But the trouble is that if you're going to do 8 shows a week, then that is total commitment. You have to do that. You can't do anything else. It has to be that. And so when I was doing the theatre, I wasn't on the telly. I had no telly presence at all, and that got a bit scary. And actually, funnily enough, it was quite hard to get back into it again afterwards. And I thought, I'm not going to do that again. And which means that my time on stage, my appearances on stage, are incredibly rare. And so that's what makes the nights so much fun. Is that I know that these are the most exclusive thing that I do. We did 4 shows last year. around the country, and they were massive, and we were really stunned by the reaction of people up in their seats. I mean, the music's so good, and the band are brilliant. We've got West End performers singing the best songs from knighted people, lords, dames, and then my mate said, "Do you want to host it?" And then he gave me another pint, and I agreed to sing. But I can only do 4 nights, and what's more, 4 nights per year. And next year's really busy, so I don't know whether it'll even fit again. So, it's that sort of rare. So I'm determined to have a bloody good time when I go out and do it.
It's interesting timing. You're coming to Nottingham on the 27th of April, which is my hometown. I'll see you there. I don't know whether you're aware, but Joseph is in the theatre next to it, which is connected. Is there any chance of a duet with Joe McElderry? Maybe you could close your eyes together.
Joe came on this morning a few weeks ago, and we began to... I don't know whether logistically it's even remotely possible. We began to hatch a plot that he would appear in mine and I would appear in his. I have no clue whether it would work. Bearing in mind, it's much easier for Joe to drift across to us and randomly appear.
Yeah.
You cannot have Phillip Schofield randomly appearing in a professional production of Joseph. Not unless I came round as Jacob. I mean, it wouldn't. And I'll tell you how much that hurts these days. But it was. I think it would work for him. I just don't know whether it would work for us. I'd go on and bow at the end.
Well, take the glory. I don't blame you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go on and bow, and Joe can sing in our crowd. So I'll get all his glory, and all I need to do in his show is bow.
I remember seeing you when I was much younger. I think I must have been 4 or 5 when you were doing Joseph. And my favourite bit of that show, if I remember, was the blow-up sheep. That stayed with me. I don't know why.
Yeah, well, funny enough, the West End show, they were proper sheep with proper wool on them. It was only the touring version that had blow up ones. I mean, on the Palladium stage, they were very, very nearly real sheep.
What's it like being you? I mean, there's 2 sides to that. One, the sex symbol. Let's address that first. You do know that the ladies, and a few of the men as well, find you delicious. You know this, don't you, Philip?
Well, I mean, it's enormously flattering, and I would never be anything other than very happy about that.
It's not a bad thing. I mean, I'm a deeply unattractive man. And then, of course, on the other end of that, there's the popularity of success. And there are so few people, Anton Deck, maybe Dermot, you, Simon Cowell. There are so few people who seem to be absolutely safe. I know it can turn around in a heartbeat. I guess for you, this must be such a great time in your life, as well when we consider your private life. You've got the family that's there. You're travelling the world with your wife, the daughters. It's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it is fantastic, and the same, with any family, you have the occasional trauma here and there, and a year or so ago, my brother was incredibly poorly, and so we all have our ups and downs. Everyone, as a family, there's nothing unusual about our family. We all everyone gets together. So occasionally, someone will kick off. I mean, it's just the same as everybody else. But as far as the job is concerned, I never forget how lucky I am. But at the same time, when people say, "Oh my God, you have it so easy," I, was very much aware that I wanted to do this from the age of 10. I've shown a bit of commitment to it. Finally got employed at 17 because the BBC was sick of the letters that I was writing for job applications. I had to type them so they couldn't tell how old I was. And then at 17, I lived in London in a bedsit on my own with absolutely zero money. So I've done all that. And so, gradually, and then it began to work, and then it got a little bit better, and then it got a bit better. It's been a long haul. So when I sit here where I am now, I never forget how lucky I am. But at the same time, I don't feel guilty about it because as with anything in life, and my dad always said to me, he said, if you're going to be, whatever you're going to do, he said it to my brother as well, whatever you're going to do, just be the best at it. If you're going to be a cab driver, just be the best cab driver. If you're going to sell ice cream, be the best at selling ice cream. And that was really a little bit of something instilled in both of us, really.
And it didn't happen by accident. That thing about 10,000 hours, I mean, you'd done that by the age of 20, hadn't you? You sat there at home and knew what you wanted to be and just practiced and practiced.
Well, I'd done about 1,000 hours before I ever got employed on the telly anyway, because I used to walk around the house with a cardboard box on top of a tea trolley, pretending it was a camera, and a very old microphone hanging off my dad's fishing rod, and that was my boom. My brother's first words were no comment. I'm pretty damn sure about that.
And have you ever analysed what it is that you do that the others don't do, which is the reason you get employed, or is that to up your own backside?
No, I wouldn't ever say that. I know that I am considered a safe pair of hands, and I'm assuming that's a good thing. But I think that's definitely sort of one of those things that it's nice to be considered, and that's the same with Antidec. It's the same with Holly. It's the same with Dermot. There is this group of us who hopefully you would like to include yourself in. That was a reasonably safe pair of telly hands.
I think it's more than that, though. It's the charm. It's the fact that you don't seem to take yourself too seriously. You can laugh one minute and be serious the next, and that is an incredible skill that so few have.
As I hugged Sarah Green yesterday, we both said to each other, still getting away with it.
Yeah, and that's all you can do. Nights of Music is touring the UK from the 27th of April. You can see Phillip Schofield on tour. Do we get to see you sing? This is the elephant in the room that everybody's waiting for. Do you do a bit at the end?
Yes.
Very good. We can't wait to see that.
More than a bit. I do 2 bits.
Oh, 2 bits. I'm guessing one of them involves a multicoloured frock.
You could be right. You're on the right track.
Talking of which, is there any amount of money that could tempt you to do pantomime? I mean, the Palladium's at it again this year. They need a start. Could you take 6 weeks out, 3 weeks out to do that, or no?
I've just been asked to do one, and unfortunately, the Christmas schedule is a nightmare. It just doesn't work. Once again, it's same old story.
No Dick in December for Phillip. That's what we're confirming on the programme. Any chance of Dancing on Ice coming back? We love that.
Once again, there is a reasonable possibility.
Very. You better get your skates on. You've got a lot to do. I don't think there's anybody more busy or more popular in show business than Phillip Schofield. You can see him on tour with the Nights of Music. Nottingham, 27th of April. Edinburgh, 28th. Newcastle on the 29th. Finishing at the New Wimbledon Theatre on the 30th in London. Phillip, it's a great honour. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, mate.